Remember, my excellent drivers, you are responsible for the safe use of your vehicle and abiding by the state or territory rules that you are driving in, and that, of course, includes mobile phone usage.
Hello, my lovely listeners, and welcome to another episode of The Art of Confident Driving. I hope you're doing well. I hope you're having a great day, because today we're talking about road rules we're unaware of. Alright, so let's get started. There's quite a few road rules out there which I'm sure a lot of you either aren't aware of at all or may have heard of, just don't think they're quite right, or if you're not certain if they're true road rules. So let's start with a pretty obvious one, and that is arms out the window. We're coming into summer, seeing it a bit more and more on the roads. Are you allowed to hang your arm out the window? Sorry guys, no. I call it the tough guy syndrome. You want to look tough, you hang your arm out the window. But it's not tough, it's a bit silly, because if there is any sort of collision with another vehicle, or of course a stationary item, that could be the last time you see your arm. A horrible thought, I'm aware, but this is why we have rules, kids. It's to keep everybody safe. So the only reason you're allowed to have your arms out the window is to signal if you are turning left, turning right, or stopping. The old hand signals, and yes, they will be in your road rules of each state and territory, so go check them out. So that's the first one that drives me crazy, arms out window. Please keep the arms inside, okay? Keep everything inside. Nothing should be outside the vehicle, no part of your body ever. The next one, tooting your horn. Are you allowed to say hello and goodbye to friends? Again, no. And yeah, this is a road rule. It's not just a suggestion. The horn should be used to warn other road users of potential danger or hazards. It can't just be used to say g'day. Another one, driving abnormally slowly. So yeah, apart from you can actually fail the test if you're driving too slow, and I have mentioned that before on quite a few episodes, you're slowing down the flow of traffic, you're impeding traffic, and it could also be a problem for pedestrians who are trying to time when they're crossing the road and they're not certain why somebody's doing 40 in a 60k zone. That sort of thing can be an issue for other road users, which is again why it's against the law. It's a flexible one, as in it depends on how low you are going. But if you're doing 20 under the speed limit, there'd want to be a good reason why you're doing that. So don't just do it because you're scared. If you're scared, go get some lessons, go get more training. Don't just do 20 under the speed limit, because you're more than likely going to get road raged anyway, which is a horrible thing to be. So don't be road raged. Try and do close to the speed limit unless there are any problems. Another one, speeding up while being overtaken. I think this is a very egotistical thing to do, where if you've been driving along, sitting on the speed limit, and the guy behind wants to overtake you, and if he wants to exceed the speed limit, well, that's his choice. It's not up to you to try and slow him down or make sure he can't get past you. He's calculated the time and the distance he needs to get past you. So if you're speeding up, it could actually create a very dangerous situation for the both of you. So please don't speed up when someone's overtaking you. Stay where you have been, which is why they want to overtake you. No, I'm just kidding. Look, if they want to be crazy and go faster, let them, all right? You just chill out, relax, enjoy the drive. And now this is a bit of a strange one. I grew up with it, but I'm sure that many who have had their license in the last 20 years would not know this one. And that is, you are actually required to keep your handbrake on when you exit your vehicle. So I know a lot of us in the automatic car, they just whack it into park and that's the end of it. The park is a gear. It's not a brake. It will lock. It locks the gears into place, but that does not mean it's a brake. We actually want to engage the braking system when we leave the car. We don't want to rely on the gears to hold the car steady. We should be relying on the system that is designed to do it, which is the park brake or handbrake. So please, use it. It's very good. All right, another one where a lot of people get a bit lazy, especially when we're pumping petrol or just popping into the shops or something like that. And that's where we leave the keys in the ignition or we leave our car unlocked. Most states and territories will not let you do that. Apart from the fact the car could get stolen, you're asking for trouble if you're leaving your car unlocked, and worse still, with the keys in the ignition, somebody will come along and steal it. It's an opportunistic crime. But if you leave that opportunity there, somebody will take it. So you've just got to take your keys with you and lock your car. If you got kids, yeah, you'll have to take them with you if they're under a certain age. Again, check your state and territory road rules. Reversing for too long. Some states have this rule, some states don't. It's pretty much a no-brainer for me. You shouldn't be reversing unnecessarily. I have to teach it, so I do that, but I make sure that I'm in an extremely safe and quiet street to do it. We don't just reverse because we've missed our exit, for example, and we don't reverse from 5 houses away back to the one that we want to go to. It's a dangerous thing to do. Reversing is harder because our vision is not as good. The back end of the car doesn't have the same vision as the front. So please don't reverse unless you absolutely have to. Another one I saw recently, and this one really surprised me because I haven't seen it in a while. I guess people are realizing that it's more dangerous than what it seems, or they're placing their dogs in the back seat instead of on their lap, which is what I saw the other day. I saw a driver with his small to medium-sized dog. So this wasn't a little teacup dog. This was a reasonable-sized dog sitting on his lap as he was driving. There are 2 big issues with that. Number one, you are restricting your steering because if you've got something in between your arms, you can't steer properly. And number 2, what if the dog, because the driver has to brake heavy, what if the dog then goes down into the footwell, which is where the pedals are? So, yeah, you've just got to play the what if game and say, well, what if something does go wrong? It's going to go really wrong because I've got no control of the steering wheel and the dog could hit the pedals. So please don't have the dogs on the lap. It's against the law. Get them safely in the back seat of the car would be much smarter. Tailgating. Gee whiz, don't we all hate that? And do we think it's illegal? Yes, we do. And it is. Every state has got their own rules for distance when it comes to the travelling distance between 2 vehicles. But look, in general, you must be at least 2 to 3 seconds behind the car in front. The reason we want that is because the number 1 cause of accidents worldwide is rear-end collisions. In other words, somebody travelling way too close to the car in front, they were not able to stop in time when the vehicle in front stopped, and of course they've just run straight into his bum. So it's not a smart move. I know a lot of you do it, and a lot of you do it even without thinking. You just kind of, the guy in front's going a bit slower, you get a bit closer. It doesn't help, guys. Sometimes they might have a look in the mirror and go, ooh, wow, that guy's behind me a bit close. I better speed up because I am well under the speed limit. But if they're not changing their speed, you getting closer is not going to do anything. But what it will do is put you in more danger of being in a collision where you would be at fault. So remembering that the rear end collisions, the vehicle behind, most of the time, you're going to be at fault. Have that good gap between you and the guy in front. Okay? When it comes to indicating, a lot of people think you don't need to bother. It is a road rule, therefore we must do it. Some states are stricter than others where they can happily enforce not only penalties but fines if you don't indicate. So I have a recommendation where 5 seconds is good for most times that we need to indicate. So whether we're turning left or right at a regular old backstreet corner, whether we're going into a right turn bay or a left turn bay, whether we're lane changing, whether we're pulling into or out of the curb, whatever the situation is, if you are changing direction or if you are slowing, you need to communicate to the other road users what you're doing. You'll find that they're much happier when you communicate, and I'm sure you're happier when other drivers communicate for you so that you know what they're doing and you can react. So a 5-second rule for that, 5 seconds notice to let other drivers know what you're doing. There are, of course, quite a few more road rules that we should be aware of, and I'm going to leave links for all of the Australian states and New Zealand as well in the show notes. So please feel free to click on those ones that apply to you. So if you're on the border of, New South Wales and Victoria, you'd probably want to be aware of both lots of state rules. They're going to be reasonably similar in most cases, but there will be some rules which are stricter in some states and weaker in the others. We do have some very strange road rules up here in Queensland where, again, they're quite lax. They're not strong road rules. So you can often get away with doing some weird and strange things, like, as I call them, Queensland U-turns, which is on a previous episode for the subscribers to be able to know exactly how to do a U-turn in an intersection, which in a lot of other states is actually quite illegal. And I decided to do this episode because on a local community Facebook page, there was a question by one of the members asking about indicating to exit at roundabouts. And I explained clearly what you need to do and, more importantly, why we needed to indicate to exit. And almost everybody said, wow, thanks, Liz. I understand it now. It makes more sense. There was one lady on there who was very cranky that she had to do it. She said it made no sense. And even though I had explained it and everybody else understood, she was still not happy about it. Again, I am just here to teach. I'm not here to enforce. That's a police officer's job. And the main thing is you guys have got to remember all of us have to do the road rules. Whether we like it or not, they are there for our safety. They are there for everybody's safety. So we should be stricter on ourselves and say, okay, if I'm in a 60k zone, I'm going to be doing 60. I'm not going to be doing 65 or 70. There's a reason. And usually, especially speed zones, it's to do with pedestrian activity. In other words, you're more likely to have a problem with a pedestrian. The higher speed zones, you are much less likely to have to worry about pedestrians. So you wouldn't worry about them on the M1 because you're doing 110. In the back streets, where there are lots of pedestrians, it's a 50. You need that reaction time in case something happens. So again, I suggested to the lady, if you didn't like the road rules, you need to contact your transport department and maybe even contact the transport minister. You know, we as instructors, all we want to do is give you the information. Whether you use that information or not is a different story, but we are here to teach. We are not here to enforce. And whether we agree with the rules or not, and I'll put my hand up and say there are some rules I don't agree with, but I still do them because it is the law. Okay? So as tempting as it is to take shortcuts and be a bit naughty, don't. Road rules are there for everybody's safety. So you go on, do the right thing, make everybody happy, and we'll all get home safe. All right, my friends, go on out there, get that information. And if you're not certain, ask your local traffic authority to explain. All right, I'll catch you next time. And my full driving lessons are available on Apple Podcasts and the artofconfidentdriving.com website, where you'll get access to instructional videos. Remember to relax and enjoy the drive. See you next time.